This video was brought to you by Stormberg, ABRP Planner, MisterGreen, Kempower and Marcus Bil.
Pilot is on. Please control the steering.
Yo, what's up? We're now sitting in the Nio ET7, and in this video I'm going to do a summary of my experience with the ET7 after spending almost a week with it.
You might want to turn the steering wheel gently. Otherwise, Pilot will be deactivated.
Yeah, you can fortunately deactivate that woman, or that kid rather. I don't know why they made Nomi sound like a little kid. You can just disable Nomi Pilot and then it's like this, rather than...
Pilot is on. ACC is on. ACC is on. ACC is on.
Who
Pilot is on.
wants to listen to that shit anyway? Chinese people maybe? Okay, but I'm pretty sure that Europeans don't want to hear
Pilot
that
is
stuff.
on.
Keep
Pilot is on.
interrupting every time you want
Please
to
control the
do
steering.
some stuff, you know? Yeah, well, whatever. So just show you guys what can be turned on and then what can be turned off. So first thing I have to tell you is that this car has a really nice and smooth ride. You have a setting here, custom, even drive mode. You can set different drive modes for acceleration stuff, ride height, but also suspension. I've set it to soft. You can set it to standard or stiff. But when you set it to soft now, it almost feels like an EQS. It's super nice and soft, but not bouncy. By the way, you hear that sound. Sorry, you hear that sound? That is actually, I think it's a camera or the camera mount making some sound. So, but it goes like a rocket with a little bit of the artificial delay. Okay, but I mean it's also fairly quick. Not as quick as Plaid, not as quick as Model S. Long range even, but I mean it's still fun to drive. But okay, but very nice, comfy ride. But you know, the whole feel of the steering wheel, the way it just rides, it feels like a German car. I'm really impressed of how they managed to tune everything here, because normally Chinese cars, most Chinese cars you can feel it. You know, it has that cheap feeling on and sound on everything, right? When it just rides over bumps and how it just the way it sounds and the way it feels. But somehow Nio managed to tune the ET7 to be I don't know, German, but in German cars in general, they have at least the way I like it to be, you know, very quiet and all that. Yeah, speaking of quietness, the ET7, it doesn't even have crazy big balloon tires or anything, but I don't remember the dimension of the tires, but I think it was 40, 45 profile or something. It is by far the quietest car I have ever tested. I don't know if you can hear it. Okay, I have to drive in behind a slow fossil here, but let's just hammer it. It is so quiet in here, incredibly quiet. So, you know, the Nio kind of destroys everything you have perceived, or you think Chinese cars would be. You think that Chinese cars will feel kind of cheap, maybe noisy, you know? No. If I didn't tell you guys that this is a Chinese car, you wouldn't believe me. You think it's a German car. So really impressive how they build this car. Okay, it's kind of heavy. I measured it to be over 2,500 kilograms, so it's a lot heavier than, for example, Tesla, but kind of on par with German cars, you know. But when it comes to the auto steer, man, the auto steer is a freaking disaster. And this car even has the LiDAR there. And oh, look at that! What the heck is the car doing? What are you doing? What are you doing, man? Okay, let me change lane here. Okay. All right, and also, okay, it has a very nice setting where you click once, it will increase speed by 1 kilometer per hour. You hold down, it will increase by 5 kilometers per hour. Very nice, and then you can change it to be the opposite. So now, if you click once, you decrease by 5 kilometers per hour, and you press and hold to do 1 kilometers per hour increments. Very nice, except for that every time I start the car, it forgets that. It forgets a lot of settings every time I start the car. I'm not sure because I'm on the Sadia account here, but somehow, even if I'm log on to Sadia's account, it forgets stuff like there was some kind of notification, drowsiness notification. Wait, yeah, where the heck was it again? I'm trying to find it. Not the driver, the display maybe. It's in a weird, not logic. No, driving. I think it was under driving here. Let me see. Yeah, down. Drowsiness reminder and the distraction reminder. Switch them off. Yeah. And also the wipers, by the way, they don't wipe that well. I went through some Salzschmutzfest, and no matter how much wiper juice I squirt, it just can't clean good enough. I think they need to change wipers or something, or maybe the squirters are not in a good position. I'm not sure what's up with this. But yeah, okay, more complaints. The Nio Pilot. It drives like a freaking Asian driver. Well, let me cover some of the, okay. So, it's kind of hard to show you guys, but I'll tell you what it's doing. It will apply some power and then reduce power. Apply some more power, reduce power. It does that just like an Asian driver. Once you notice it, it's annoying. And then couple that with the uneven steering. Okay, right now I can't drive too fast because you guys might see the speedometer. But normally when I drive faster and the curves are a little bit sharper, it would do weird zigzag to the point where I almost get dizzy and I have to take over the wheel many times. And this is what I wonder. They have so many cameras, so many sensors. They brag about all this shit. They have the LiDAR, and still it drives worse than even Tesla. It drives worse than many other cars I tested when it comes to the auto steer. It's not smooth at all. It kind of ruins the whole feeling because the car is really good. It feels good. It's quiet. It rides like a German car, but they ruin it with the software, with the auto steer, you know? Speaking of Tesla, by the way, normally I also get lots and lots of phantom brakes. Like typically, if you have like a car in that position, and if you have a slight left curve, right? Many times it will phantom brake, and it comes up with a little notification here, briefly, but it just disappeared again, like a split of a second. I can't even read it in time. It's super annoying. It should at least pop up and stay there for a little while until it disappears. It seems like as soon as that condition is over, it disappears. Sometimes it comes on longer. I read it. It said something about be careful about cars cutting in front of you. But in 99.9, actually, yeah, in probably 99.9% of the time, there was no car that cut in front of me. And the car just did that phantom brake. Well, sometimes also really hard, but many times just, you know. And it was really often. It was more often than the Tesla with phantom brake. So yeah, lots of complaints, unfortunately, for me. And also many things in this car is not logically set up. For example, if you go into camp mode or dog mode, you cannot put the car in drive. You have to go in the menu, cabin comfort, and then disable pet mode. Then you can put the car in drive. It's kind of weird because other cars where you have some kind of preconditioning, keep climate on in Tesla, or in other cars when you have the, condition the battery or something, condition the cabin. Once you get back in the car, you can start driving. But here, I think the whole idea is that you don't want to accidentally put the car in drive if you have a dog in there or something. But hey, just detect that there is no key and then don't drive, right? Or something like that. Or if you're in camp mode, same. If the key is not present, then don't allow the user to drive. Yeah, so I mean, it's a nice menu and all that here. You have a nice screen. I like this. I like big screen. I like that one at least. But I feel like some of the stuff here is not well organized. For example, if you want to turn on the seat heat, okay, you do it here, some of the seat stuff, massage and stuff, but then there's some other seat stuff, or I don't remember. I don't remember exactly what it was right now, but I feel like some of the control elements here are organized in a weird, not logical way. So this can, of course, be fixed with software. And you say, oh, Bjørn, but you're a noob, you're not used to this car. Yes, fine, yeah, I know, I'm not used to this car, but I actually spend a lot of time here, and I also spend a lot of time in the Nio ES8, actually a lot of time. So I kind of know how the Nio stuff works, but still, I just can't get used to it. Just like, just like the stockless yoke wheel in a Tesla. Yes, you can get used to it, kind of, but if the design is already bad from the beginning, then you just can't get good ergonomics regardless, right? And that's what I claim about this car. The software needs a little bit of reworking. If they do that, if they nail the software, this car is gonna kick some serious ass, because it is very, very impressive. When it comes to space, I have to tell you that the second row cannot fold. And because it cannot fold, then it limits the usability, what you can do. And also it has that the sedan opening, the small, it doesn't have the big hatch opening also. So space-wise, I mean, it's fairly. Oh, there's a Nio ES8. Oh, it's a nice car. I mean, not getting me wrong, it's a nice car. It's comfortable. That one is super flexible and spacious. Where can you see it? You can kind of see it. That one is super nice. ES8, plenty of space, perfect family car. This one, it's like the opposite. It's very comfy. What the heck is this? Stau? The fuck? Okay, what the? Let's see now. How does it do it in Stau? You have somewhat limited space, despite that this car is actually 10 centimeters longer than the Tesla Model S. But okay, the back seat is very spacious. That's good. So it's like, I'm not sure what they're trying to do with this car. I mean, what are they trying to aim for? Are they trying to make this a luxury sedan like a BMW i7? Because this car kind of resembles BMW i7 in many ways, because the i7 also cannot fold the seats, and it's a large, very comfortable luxury EV, right? Yeah, okay, if that's the case, then they have succeeded to copy a BMW i7. But against the other rivals like Tesla Model S or and Mercedes EQS. EQS and Model S, they all have the big hatch opening, and they can fold the seats. So they are super flexible, super spacious actually, compared to this ET7. So you just have to know the limitation, I guess, with this car, and then I guess you will be super happy with it. But remember that this car supposedly will eventually get 150 kilowatt hour battery. It's massive. When it comes to range, by the way, and consumption, yeah, this car has a drag coefficient of 0.208. Very impressive drag coefficient. Wait, is that even better than EQS? No, EQS is 0.2, isn't it? They even have better drag coefficient than Tesla. But somehow, the Tesla Model S, Palladium, which includes the long range, they used to be called long range, but now it's just Model S, and the Plaid, both of them are more efficient than the ET7. Now in winter. Maybe in summer it's a different story, but at least now in winter, the Model S just wins hands down in consumption and also range. Model S has more range, even though this is also 100 kilowatt hour battery. But I guess once you get the 150 kilowatt hour battery, yeah, then it will beat it in range. But okay, I guess, but still, okay, you can say, yeah, you know, this car does not beat Tesla in consumption and range. Yeah, but I still get the impression that the ET7 here, I've driven it a little while now, it is still very efficient compared to many other legacy automakers. For example, against EQS in winter, ET7 wins easy against that one, against the EQS. So it's not like this car is bad. It is actually very good in many, many ways, but the software kind of ruins it a lot, actually, the software. So, well, let me just take up this one so you can, oh no, what the heck? Okay. What the heck? Why do we have Stau over here? You see, this is why I normally do this at night and not in the daytime. But I'm actually going to return the car now, so we're just going to do the whole video summary. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to visit the Bjørn Haug bumps, but whatever. Okay, but you guys get it. This is a very comfortable car. When it comes to charging speed, by the way, it has a manual battery heater option. When I activate it, well, we can try to activate it now, yeah, for fun. Let me see. We have to go here. No, wait, no. I'm trying to get used to this. Okay, we have to go to my ET7 and then battery. Okay, in order to enter the charging speed, you have to go to my ET7 and then battery. Okay, well, you're supposed to know that, right? Okay, but here, wait, we have to wait until we are stationary. Go on. Okay, I'm using 5 amp now. Well, I'm moving. Okay, I'm slightly moving. Okay, whatever. Let's just stop here. The guy in front, he just don't want to stop in. Okay, let's stop here. There, I'm using 3 amp right now and 340 volt. 380 volt, 3 amp. Okay, if I enable the battery heater, it goes up. So it was 3 amp. Now it's pulling 8 amps. So that means 5 amp times 380 volt for the battery heater. That's not much at all. It's like 3 kilowatt roughly. And I noticed that when I drove on, I actually went to Folldal in really cold weather, and also in the 1,000 kilometer challenge, just happened to be cold. Okay, we have manual battery heater button, but even when I preheat the battery 1 hour before, it's still cold gated. I only receive 80 kilowatt. This car on paper is supposed to take 140 kilowatt. I never saw that. Towards the end of the 1,000 kilometer challenge, I saw 110 kilowatt. That's it, the best ever test. So I guess you can get 140 kilowatt in summer. So I feel like the comfort part of this car is really, really good. The ride, the silentness, you know, that part is really good. This door closing sound, everything is good. When it comes to more like the technical part with the motors, battery heater, charging speed, it's like in the middle. It's more on par with many other legacy automakers, but I still feel like it's behind, for example, Mercedes, EQS, or the iX3 or iX or some of the other ones, like or i7. I haven't tested i7, but those cars, i4 for example, that's a smaller car, but and also Tesla, yeah. Those cars, I feel like they perform better in winter. And I had a really weird and scary experience with this car when I was going to Alvdal. It was minus 21 degrees Celsius. I had 7% battery left. That's massive for a 100 kilowatt battery. But because the car had somewhat poor battery management and thermal management, or I don't know how to say, wait, can I go over there now? I think I should. The battery was so cold that okay, let me go. It was so cold that I got some scary power limit. And I was actually in some semi-limp mode. At one point I had only around 10-15 kilowatt power left, and for such a heavy car, when you go uphill, I couldn't cruise too fast. I was cruising at around 50-60 kilometers per hour uphill. It was not a speed limit, it was a power limit. So you can build up speed up the hill, I guess. But think about this, that happened in minus 21 degrees Celsius. I think the battery was just too cold. It should have heated up the battery. I don't know if this car has any heat scavenging or not. I have some indication it might have heat scavenging, which is that it will then take heat from other components in the car and then put it in the cabin, or maybe take heat from the motor and heat up the battery, for example. My Tesla from 2013 has heat scavenging. It will actually use leftover heat from the motor to heat up the battery, for example. But I have indication that this one might have heat scavenging, because when I did acceleration test, it was kind of cold outside, and when I hammered it, I temporarily felt that the temperature in the cabin went up a little bit. That could be an indication that maybe it scavenges heat from the drivetrain and then puts it into the cabin, and then suddenly when you floor it, you get lots of surge heat into the system that also goes into the cabin before the car can react and adjust down the temperature a little bit. I also felt the same thing with a Tesla Model 3 that also has the same type of heat scavenging. So but I don't know for sure. That's the thing, I don't know. And also there's no car scanner does not support the ET7 yet, so I'm kind of in the dark when I try to figure out how this car works. But yeah, so lots of stuff I experienced with this car, but there was actually one very nasty feature. I think it's not a bug, but back to the whole, when you have low battery and the battery is cold, I got this drivetrain error, a powertrain error. You know, I was like, it's super scary, like, huh? You get a powertrain error, what? Well, it turns out it's just poor implementation of the software, because when you're using cruise control, adaptive cruise control, or the Nio Pilot, the car will then adjust the speed, right? I mean, it will keep the speed according to what you want. And then if you go uphill something, it might require a certain amount of power. But if you have low state of charge, and or if the battery is cold, you have a power limit. And then suddenly the car or the BMS cannot supply what the cruise control requests for. And then it throws a powertrain error. Most other cars that has a power limit will just limit the speed. So you set it to 80 kilometers per hour, but you can only go at 70 kilometers per hour, for example. So that is just something Nio needs to fix, because it scared me. Even me, as an experienced EV driver, I was shit scared. Like whenever I see a powertrain error, I take that seriously. But fortunately, it wasn't that serious. So yeah, but I mean, okay, I'm almost now back at the Nio headquarters. I'm gonna return this car, but in a way, I still think that this is a very good car for the money. Because think about this, you get EQS and i7 comfort in here. The comfort here is better than the latest Tesla Model S Palladium or Plaid. It's better, the suspension is better, it's better soundproof. Even without the active noise cancelling, this car is quieter than the Tesla. And like I said, it is the quietest car ever tested. Better than Audi, Mercedes, BMW. Yeah, that's how good it is. Super quiet, super comfy, and easy to drive. Like, I sat in the car, I've just set the mirrors, everything, and off I go, you know, super easy. So yeah, and in a way, this car, it depends if you go for the bus or not. I recommend going for the bus, the battery swap. Then it's actually not that expensive, especially in Norway, by the way. In Norway now, we have VAT on cars that cost more than, I think it was 500,000. And what else is it? You also have, yeah, a weight tax. At a certain, I don't remember what it was, but this car, okay, is a bit heavy, so that's a bit bummer. But when you go for bus, you can then go for a lower purchase price, and then you just pay per month. So actually, it's a good deal to go for bus. But this car, I think it was with bus, it's like 680k something, and then without bus, if you pay for the whole battery, you then get away with around 800k. That is actually okay. I have the ND filter on, that's why it seems a bit dark. But okay, what I'm going to say is that that's why this car is actually a very good deal compared to the German brother from another mother. They cost almost twice as much. Yeah, so very, very impressive. Good value for money. And okay, we just have to improve the software, I guess. The software needs to be better. Once, okay, if Nio, wait, where do I park? Shit, is there a dedicated Nio spot here? I think I just picked it up here, didn't I? Okay, let me go further up. If Nio improves the software, like I explained what the problems are, if they improve it, this car should sell like hotcakes. As of today, you can still buy it and it will still be great. You can still live with it. Maybe you're not as picky as me when it comes to software and auto steer and all that. Yeah, but yeah, so that's my takeaway. Oh, here, okay, this is Nio. I see the Nio stuff. Oh, okay, we found the Nio, reserve Nio, okay. So, yeah, and also that one, yeah, the ES8, very impressive car also. But also that one, in the same way, it also has some imperfections with the auto steer and everything. I think that one tends to slow down in the curves. At least this one doesn't slow down in the curves. That's good. But then it does the zigzag in the curve instead. Yeah, but so what should I say then? Like the final verdict. I mean, should you buy this car or should you stay away from it? Well, unlike some other brands where I would say, you know, maybe some other brands, it's kind of obvious. I haven't said it like don't buy it, but for the Nio, I actually like this car a lot, and I wouldn't say don't buy it. I say it's a very nice car, but it can be improved. But the good thing is that many of the improvements is actually software based. But then when it comes to the non-folding back seats, okay, that one you cannot software update it. But okay, so now you guys got a little impression of how this car is. So yeah. And when it comes to battery swap, by the way, that is also very convenient, the whole battery swap. And I also did 1,000 kilometer challenge with battery swap. However, it did not beat Tesla. I think it's the problem is that this car, like I mentioned, the whole Colgate, I did it in winter, so it just couldn't charge fast enough. And when I did the 1,000 kilometer challenge, I had to do a combination of some charging. It was actually 3 charging sessions and 2 battery swap sessions, but it was not enough to beat Model S. But it means that at least if you have battery swap, it becomes kind of consistent that in winter, you know, no matter how much you spend, you can just plug it in. I mean, you can just swap, and then the swap goes fast, regardless of if it's winter or summer. But the problem again is that I had to top up between the swaps, and the top-ups took actually a lot of time. This car only charged at 80 kilowatt. That's actually kind of bad. Hopefully they can improve this somehow. I'm not sure how they're going to do it. But at least if you can charge at, let's say, 120 kilowatt, that would be a lot better, so that you can at least cut down the charging sessions in between. But the whole charging, yeah, let me try something here, since we are stationary now. I'm going to switch off climate control. I'm going to see again. Now the battery current goes down to 1 amp, and if I use the battery heater now, I'm going to see it goes up to 6 amps. Wait, is that it? 6 amp. I'm going to do the Asian math because I failed. It pulls only 1.9 kilowatt. Okay, actually it doesn't have a decimal, but let's say the battery heater is only 2 kilowatt. That is the problem, because I feel like maybe the heat in the battery leaks like a Swiss cheese. So you're inputting 2 kilowatt, but then you lose 1 kilowatt to the environment as we drive or something like that. But most other cars I know, like Tesla Model S, the classic one, like Millennium Falcon, the old Tesla, has 6 kilowatt battery heater. Many cars in this kind of size has roughly around 6 kilowatt battery heater. Tesla Model S Plaid, I've seen it. It pulls 15 kilowatt for battery heating, and also part of that is it's a combination of 3 motors generating heat, but also a combination of the heat pump, and the heat pump has a higher COP than 1. So Tesla, on the other hand, has well, depending on if it's Plaid or if it's the dual motor, the long range, it has probably at least 12 to 16 kilowatt battery heating. You see, so this one, I mean, as long as you don't live in too cold climate, then I think no big problem. Then the car will work very fine. But in very cold weather, then you just have to expect that in winter, yeah, it's going to take a little bit longer. So, but it has good range anyway. So in general, you don't feel that it's not like that bad. It's just that, okay, it's a little bit slow than in summer. But in summer, I expect this one to be really good. And also, of course, with a 150 kilowatt hour battery, then it's game over. But okay, I think that's going to be... Wait, stop warming. Okay, stop. So the next person will be like, oh, what the heck? Why is the consumer... Well, actually, I think it will stop by itself. But okay. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching and talk to you later.